I don't talk about this guy very much because why bother? Although I found this clip hilarious. So this guy, Milo Yiannopoulos, how do you pronounce his name? Yiannopoulos.
Yiannopoulos.
Yiannopoulos. Okay, Milo Yiannopoulos. It's Milo, right? Not. So Milo Yiannopoulos, he is a Breitbart editor. I don't know. What would you call that?
Until recently, I think he was a tech editor. I think that still might be what he is.
What, did they get fired? Did he get fired?
No, I think that's just his nominal title.
Oh, he was a tech editor, and he was a tech editor because he got booted from Twitter. So they named him tech editor, and he was on CNBC. And this is in the wake of Hillary Clinton's alt-right speech. Now, again, the alt-right, I take issue with this insofar as the alt-right is really just the right. It's just that they like to get booted off of Twitter or something. I don't know. There's really not a tremendous difference between the alt-right. They may be a little bit more, they're like Trump insofar as they deliver the subtext and maybe eschew the text. But that's not alt-right. They don't have a fundamentally different ideology. They just have a slightly different style. They just, they're trying to, become, famous, internet famous, to the extent that they can. And, I'm in that same business. But I am not as, I like to think I'm not as craven about it. Here is Milo Yiannopoulos on the CNBC Power Lunch. And he really takes issue with the idea that the alt-right is about white supremacy. And he explains that for us. Here he is.
White identity. The de facto merger between Breitbart and the Trump campaign represents a landmark achievement for the alt-right. Are you the alt-right? And what is the alt-right?
No, I mean, I've never identified as the alt-right. The press seems determined to crown me the queen of it. All I've done is give them a fair hearing in the press. I think that
right,
white
pause
identity
it for 1
and
second.
white national...
Okay. So he's just given them a fair hearing in the press. I guess like at the press being what? Breitbart. He's been giving them a fair hearing on Breitbart because all they have is basically they're almost defined by the fact that they write on Breitbart. But whatever that means. All right, just dial it back a little bit. Oh, and I should tell you, I mean, if you're confused, the reason why he says I'm the queen of the alt-right is that his like, for whatever reason, all right-wingers, particularly like younger ones who are trying to be hip, like that Wilkow guy had that moniker where he was the undisputed king of the second wave of right-wing talkers, I think is what he cumbersomely referred to himself. This guy refers to himself as the most dangerous fag or something like that. He's not dangerous.
Crown me the queen of it. All I've done is give them a fair hearing in the press. I think that white identity and white nationalism is a little misleading. I think it's more accurate to say that the alt-right cares about Western supremacy rather than white supremacy. It cares about Western values. It cares about liberal, capitalist, Western democracy, democratic values, freedom, equality, that kind of thing. And it sees, various threats to those on various fronts.
So when Donald Trump talks about preventing immigrants, preventing Muslims from coming into the country, a lot of people see that as racist. You don't think that's racist?
They're entitled to, but all I can tell you is, as a gay man, I'm quite reassured by Donald Trump's...
pause that for 1 second. Now, I want to remind you that Mexico and Central and Latin America are in the West. And they have those same Judeo-Christian values. They, as far as I know, Mexico is not a theocracy. But somehow, if you're Milo and you branded yourself the most dangerous gay guy or fag on the internet, whatever it is, you can tie in the fact that there are Muslim nations that are virulently and lethally anti-gay. I mean, Russia too, but they don't seem to have the same problem with Putin as they do with these Islamic countries. But dial it back a little bit. So I just want to remind you of that, because as you see, he will avoid the real question. It's not white supremacy or national supremacy. It's really just Western values excluding anybody south of Florida or south of Mexico. It's Western values that are just conveniently white, and it has to do with things like freedom of speech and freedom of religion, except for, of course, those Western people in France, let's say, or in Britain, which doesn't have a First Amendment. So it's what we're protecting is Western values, not nationalism, that excludes people who are brown, but includes people who are white who don't necessarily share the same values as we do. Go.
From coming into the country. A lot of people see that as racist. You don't think that's racist?
They're entitled to, but all I can tell you is, as a gay man, I'm quite reassured by Donald Trump's, entreaties toward American values and his skepticism about Islamic immigration. When Hillary Clinton quotes my headlines, and suggests that this is some kind of sinister, dark underbelly of American society.
What do you mean by American values?
Well, the First and Second Amendment, freedom of speech, free expression, the right to be, do, and say whatever you want. These are the values that have made America the greatest country in the history of human civilization.
Pause it. Wait a second. Well, we're not talking about America, right? We're not talking about, because he had told us it was Western. It was Western values. But now we've shifted back to American values. Continue.
Values that are not compatible with some of the Islamic immigration that we see in Europe. And, I guess I'm over here as a warning from Europe, saying please don't go the same way as Germany and the UK.
If you are...
There he is. He's actually giving us a warning. And because, of course, we've seen what all that Mexican immigration has done to Germany and the UK. All right, so it doesn't end there. Yiannopoulos is asked about, it continues on with Yiannopoulos on CNBC. Let's listen in again. This guy, this guy's going to be the most fun to watch like 10 years from now, because he's really got nowhere to go. I mean, maybe he can write some books, but I don't get the sense that unless he's got somebody to bankroll him, I don't think he's going to be able to turn one out.
There was a line that Gore Vidal had about some New Age author, it doesn't matter, but I remember the line was, this book was a great deal harder to read than it was to write. And I always have that thought every time I read a Milo column.
Yeah, I imagine, but I think for him, I think it's a...
You think that's a heavy lift too?
Yeah,
okay, I gotcha.
I'm not getting... I think this guy is doing exactly what he should be doing, and sadly, though, there's just not much sustainability in coming on CNBC every time someone has a question about Twitter. But here it is.
A sense, aside from the policy positions, and I do think that Trump is tapping into something with the immigration stuff, with trade, and Ann Coulter, for instance, her analysis is that people like Trump for the policies. Mine is a little different. I think that people are getting a little sick on all sides of the political divide of the nannying safe space culture from the left.
All right, pause it for 1 second. So let me just be clear here. What he's doing is he's explaining that he doesn't think that Donald Trump's popularity is a function of policy so much. But he's going to explain to us that it's really about an anti-PC. People are just so fed up with having to tiptoe around the broad swath of people in this country who insist on political correctness. Let's just dial it back just a little bit.
Sam Harris points, the same nonsense.
Space culture from the left, of the language policing, saying everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic when we know it isn't. And that kind of chilling effect on culture, on freedom of expression, even on journalism, has started to become very obvious. And I don't think voters like it very much.
What would America...
Well, I'm just curious, the chilling effect that we have here, like, but the journalism, like, what is it at Breitbart that they feel that they can't write? What is it at Breitbart that they feel that they cannot write? What is the chilling effect that's having on culture? What chilling effect? What can't you do now? Oh, well, I can't get up there and do my bit on how, transgender black people, eat watermelon and look funny. And that was going to be a killer bit on my show. I was going to make a whole movie about it. And now that script is just down the tubes. In other words,
That was literally the title of the script.
well, I mean, the idea here is that the marketplace, when you talk chilling of the culture, give me a break. Continue.
What would America look like with an ascendant alt-right, with a Trump in the White House and a Mr. Bannon as the chief of staff? And
it would be so much more fun.
Well, it might well be. It might.
And laughter.
It would be
and
more
memes.
spontaneous. Let's
Pepe
say.
in the White
Would
House.
it be meaner?
It would be fantastic. It might be a little meaner, but we could do with a bit of meanness in American society. This cult of being nice all the time and not saying what we really think, not saying what's actually happening. I mean, the reason that people like me get upset about political
Pause it.
correctness
Hold on for a second. This cult of being nice all the time. What cult is that? Where is he going where everybody's being so nice to him? And we can't say what we really mean, what we really feel. What is it that he really feels? Why can't he say it? Say it on television there.
that it kills is that it results in horrible things happening, whether it's San Bernardino or Sandy Hook or whatever. People say, oh, well, we knew, but we didn't go there. We didn't say anything because we didn't want to seem racist. What's the one? Rotherham in the UK, right? 1,400 young girls.
What was the political correctness involved in Sandy Hook? That because I know you want to be really gentle with people who take guns and own all those automatic weapons and go to because we're so politically correct about that. We don't want to say like, hey, that might be a problem. This guy's just spouting gibberish. The problem, the real threat from political correctness is that we have like the San Bernardino shooting. Let's hear his story now from Great Britain.
Were raped over 10 years. And the government report said that the reason nobody reported on this, the reason nobody did anything about it, is that the police and the authorities were scared of seeming Islamophobic because those 1,400 girls were all raped by Pakistani rape gangs. That is an example of political correctness with victims, with real-world consequences. And that's, the serious end of political correctness. That's the real end. Aside from the memes and the jokes and the meanness on Twitter, that's the kind of stuff that I really object to.
Pause it. Now, of course, this, and I don't know what he's talking about, but let me just stipulate that maybe it's the case that there are all these Pakistani rape gangs that have raped 1,400 women over the course of 10 years. Horrible. I remember when we had all that political correctness around things like that, the child molestation ring that they found in Britain, right? They didn't want to be politically incorrect. When it came to the UK leadership.
Oh, you mean you're talking about the decades-long child abuse scandal that implicated major figures from, I think, all three major political parties in the UK?
It was all the political correctness about labeling politicians as child molesters. And then, of course, there was all that political correctness that kept people quiet about what was going on with Catholic priests. And then the political correctness involved in Jerry Sandusky and Denny Hastert. Give me a break. That's the real danger of political correctness. This guy's a real lightweight. But here is the best example of why I think we have got to take every opportunity we can to mock this Milo Yiannopoulos as often as we can. Because I don't think he's got much sustainability. I mean, yes, he'll be hired at Breitbart and when Trump TV comes on, but I don't think this is a guy whose audience members are going to appreciate seeing every day. Maybe, do we know? I don't know. But here he is on CNBC. They ask him about Colin Kaepernick's protest about the anthem. Now, here is the guy. Let's set this up properly. Here is the guy who is so enraged, who thinks that it's literally life-threatening, these safe spaces, these trigger warnings, this PC, we should be able to say whatever we want. Nothing's sacrosanct. We need this cult of being nice and being polite and respectful. That needs to be thrown out the window. And then he's asked about Colin Kaepernick.
That because it had a
What do you think of Colin Kaepernick?
Oh, God, I'm so bored about hearing about this silly grandstanding. You know, those moments when, you know, you have the national anthem, when everybody comes together despite their political differences, race, gender, you know, politics, whatever, those are the moments when you're supposed to be respectful of your fellow players, of the audience, of everybody around you. Come together for that moment and say, okay, these are the things we believe in. You know, let's go do this,
But
guys.
that seems to run against
Yeah,
your
I
thought.
think it's
That
contradictory.
Yes,
run against
period. Stop it. Yes, of course, it runs against everything you've just said for the past 5 minutes on this program. Oh, is that right? Oh, well, then let me change everything I just said and pretend I never said it. This guy, not exactly the sharpest tack. Well, it's Breitbart. So, I mean, when you're swimming in those oceans, it's not so hard to be the fastest swimmer, I guess.
For that moment and say, okay, these are the things we believe in. You know, let's go do this,
But
guys.
that seems to run against your
I
thought.
think it's
That seems to
contradictory.
run against your thought that we should be less respectful and less
Oh, no, I think we should be hugely respectful of free speech and freedom of
prissy
expression.
in a way, you know.
No. Look, I don't want to get too uptight about it because
Yeah.
I don't care about some sportsmen, as I
I don't
started out to
care
say. I don't
now.
care about some sportsmen.
You're bored
having,
with him.
I forgot.
Having a little, like, tantrum, hissy fit spectacle, okay? What I would like, though, is that when our sportsmen and celebrities do things like this and all eyes are on them afterwards, I would like them to actually say something of substance, like have a real argument, rather than just these lefty talking points. And by the way, the reason sales of his shirt are going up is because people are burning them.
But you do.
Boo-doo-boo-ba-doo-boo-boo. Yes. Oh, and he just walked off going, God, I've got to get that down. Right. When I'm not supposed to criticize them for the thing that is supposedly my raison d'etre. When it comes to people actually doing what I say, I've got to then just mock it as being silly. Note to self. He'll figure it out. But sadly, I think by the time he figures it out, his day in the sun is going to be over. He'll just be talking to those Trump TV people, and they won't pick up on it.
I want to put a message out to the Milo fans that might find this when we clip it for YouTube. Just link to the most substantial piece of work that Milo's ever put out in his career. I'd be genuinely interested in seeing what that is.
And I would also say people should check out Michael's Everything in 3 Minutes about him, which I actually think, is probably more appropriate. He's so whiny, and it's like, why did we just spend 7 minutes on him?
No, it was pretty great, though. It was this, apparently, he set up, as a kind of publicity stunt, he set up a scholarship for straight white males to go to college, and he was going to fundraise for it. And the account for the PayPal is attached directly to his bank account, which I love.
Well, look.
I love it.
I'll tell you something. Aren't there pictures of him before he got his makeover or something?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, look, and I'm being sincere about this. I am totally for people doing characters and succeeding in any way they can. All right? It's more or less the business I'm in. And it certainly was explicitly the business I was in back when I was in show business. Milo watches, what's that? Gosh. It's this woman who does this character. It's funny for kids, like lipstick, big lipstick, and she talks in such but Milo spoke like that for her. And honestly, I think it's great. I tried to get her autograph. Like, I knew her manager, and her manager was like, no, I can't do it. Like that impressive. So this guy's just doing a character. I can't wait till it finds out that not only is he not gay, he's not British.
My name's Steve.
I'm from Ohio.
From Ohio.
Hey, man, I was just doing it.
Just followed its own logic.
No, I mean,
That's always been the charge that, oh my God, I totally forget her name. That Ann Coulter
is
was doing
actually
an actor.
is actually what do you call it? Andy Kaufman.
Right.
Maybe.
Milo's stuck with the same character for pretty much the whole time, which is
Milo-
disgusting.
Like since 2012.
Oh, Milo. Oh,
Milo. Yeah. He's
no, I'm joking. But
He's
he's
horrendous.
He's playing a character, and
well, right.
but I mean, obviously he's British. Obviously he's gay. But he's playing a character.
No, I wasn't saying that.
What?
I wasn't
I mean,
saying that. He never has changed his tune, though, from being awful and right wing.
Oh
from
no,
the very start.
I know. I imagine, and I think I mean, God knows what horrible things, what his childhood was like that led him in this way.
He did used to
But-
say people were getting sociopathic on the internet and they should be banned. He actually said that in like 2011, 2012.
That
So
does
that
sound
ca-
like a bit of a tune change.
That's a slight tune change.
I like that. That's a great switch up.
Of course, and there's going to be more, but it's just and nobody and it'll be, but it's
No, I was perfectly consistent. I was talking about people being sociopathic, not racially harassing actresses.
not
I mean,
having fun.
Yeah, not having fun and calling black women apes. I mean, I don't understand. I was talking about people doing really terrible things.
Hey folks, Sam Seder here. I just got back from a company-wide meeting. Accounting is really coming down on me hard. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So please enjoy this channel. Subscribe right down there.